Hello again, it's Professor Marsh, and I wanted to just take a few minutes and go through the Unit 1 quiz and go through, what everybody got right, what some people got right, what some people got wrong, and just kind of review that quiz. So if you want to look at your own quiz paper, I think you can look at it in Wolf Den. The first multiple choice question began, accounting is sometimes called the language of blank. Sadly, love is not the correct answer. B, business was the correct answer. Wall Street is not, and Timbuktu is not correct. So the correct answer there was B. And all of you know that. Every single one of you got that correct. So that's good job. Question number 2. Now, question number 2 was the second most difficult question on the exam, and it began financial accounting information blank, and A, the choice was should be incomplete in order to confuse competitors. Well, from a competitive standpoint, that might be nice, but that's not the correct answer. Should be prepared differently by each company. Well, if that was the case, we might not have generally accepted accounting standards because every company would do things their own way. That might make comparability difficult. The third possible answer, C, summarizes what has already occurred, and that actually is the correct answer. And then the fourth one, I think some of you selected, provides investors guarantees about the future, and sadly, financial accounting information just tells us about the past. It does not predict the future. If you want to predict the future, get a DeLorean and go see it, and then come back and tell us about it. But in any event, that's question number 2, and again, that was the second most difficult question on the exam. Of the 19 of you who have completed the quiz number 1, 3 of you got that wrong. So, question number 3, this was the most difficult question on the quiz. That question began, external users of financial accounting information include the following. Now remember, it says external users of financial accounting information, and I think what was tricky about this is that many of you saw employers and managers, and of course they do use financial information, but sadly they are internal users of financial accounting information. The external users of financial accounting information are lenders and investors and sometimes government regulators, not cockneys and zombies, and not none of the above. So the correct answer to number 3 was A. Question number 4. There was one wrong answer on this question. All of the following are examples of managerial accounting activities except making equipment repair or replacement decisions, preparing external financial statements in compliance with GAAP, measuring costs of production for each product produced, deciding whether or not to use automation, and managerial accounting activities are, this was to make sure that you understood the difference between managerial accounting and financial accounting. And so, there are many examples of managerial accounting, but the one that is clearly just financial accounting is B, preparing external financial statements in compliance with GAAP. So that is financial accounting, not managerial accounting. Number 5, what is the primary purpose of what type of business? The primary purpose of what type of business is to serve a particular need in the community. For-profit, not-for-profit, manufacturing, or retail, and typically that's what we think of as not-for-profit activities. Those not-for-profit businesses their primary purpose is to serve a need in the community. So that's what we're talking about there. And only one of you got that incorrect. Number 6, everybody got this one right. A governmental agency can best be described by which of the following statements? A, has a primary purpose of making a profit. Oh, if only that were true. B, has regular shareholder meetings. No, governmental agencies typically don't have shareholders. Produces goods for sale to the public. Sometimes, but that's not really the best description. And then D, has a primary purpose of using taxpayer funds to provide services. And that is the primary purpose of governmental agencies. So, or at least a primary purpose of governmental agencies, not the for-profit and not the merchandising type activities. Which of the following is not considered a stakeholder of an organization? And one of you did get this incorrect. Creditors, employees, a business in another industry, community residents. This might have been a little tricky. A business in another industry is typically not considered a stakeholder of an organization. But the modern view of management is that organization stakeholders include their employees, of course, and their creditors, and also would include community residents in the community in which the organization is located. Which of the following sell stock on an organized stock exchange, such as the New York Stock Exchange? A, governmental agencies. No. Privately held companies. No, otherwise they wouldn't be privately held. C, publicly traded companies. Yeah, that sounds pretty good to me. And D, not-for-profit businesses. No, they do not sell stock on the New York Stock Exchange. So the correct answer to number 8 is C, and there was somebody who got that wrong, and that may have been just carelessness. Which of the following skills or attributes is not a primary skill for accountants to possess? Written communication, verbal communication, analytical thinking, or D, extensive computer programming background. And I'm pleased to say that all of you got D, extensive computer programming background. That can be helpful, and certainly IT knowledge is a part of the CPA exam now in the last section. But it's not extensive computer programming background is not important, not a primary skill for accountants to possess. You can just learn to use the apps. What type of organization primarily offers tax compliance, auditing, and consulting services? A, corporations. That's not the best answer. B, public accounting firms. That's correct. C, governmental agencies. No. D, universities. No. So that's it. And everybody got number 10 correct also. So that's great. Now, in your essays, I really wanted to focus on two things. One is what your interests were for the course, and those were quite interesting. Many of you had an interest in using accounting skills and what you're going to learn in this course for purposes of careers in management, entrepreneurship, investments, and one of you wants to be an investment banker. Many of you, I think, were interested in starting your own businesses and also managing your own investments. And some of you were interested in the technical skills, perhaps as a career basis. So anyhow, I appreciate your responses, the substance of those. I also wanted to gauge your writing skills, and I am going to post a little book that can be read in the course of really just a Saturday afternoon called The Elements of Style, which is a short primer on good writing and composition techniques, and basically how to avoid a lot of the silly errors that we make as beginning writers, and even as more experienced writers, with jargon, and with certain bad habits that many people have, and also common misused words, and common mistakes in grammar, diction, punctuation, and things of that nature. So I'm going to post that in your materials, and ask that you, if you didn't get a perfect grade on your essay, and maybe if you got an 8, which some of those were a little generous, then maybe consider taking a look at that, and maybe even doing what I did when I was your age, which is to actually copy the elements of style down in a notebook, copying it word for word. And one or two of you mentioned in terms of your goal setting that you learned kinesthetically, and you learned by doing, and I certainly have found that experience in practicing in the elements of style has helped me over the years. So that's it for the first quiz. Good job, everyone. Roughly half of you got perfect scores on the multiple choice, and several of you had, not as many, but several of you had very, very good essays. So let's keep up the good work, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.